From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at Noon, streaming now.
Welcome in here to the News at Noon. I'm Nicole Griffin. Lauren Casey has the afternoon off. Meteorologist Todd Clausen is standing by. And Todd, not the brightest day outside today, but it doesn't feel too bad stepping outside.
Yeah, you know, the clouds look a lot more threatening than they are, Nicole. There could be a little bit of patchy drizzle here and there across central Indiana. But other than that, it's going to be mainly dry. In fact, in some locations, these clouds should start to thin out a little bit going forward in this forecast. Here's the view, though, from downtown. Looking to the east past downtown, the view is from IMS, and you can see there's quite a bit of cloud cover out there and some haze, but the clouds are not extending all the way down to the ground, so we don't have the visibility issues out there like we do when we have dense fog. That's the good news. To the north there, you can see the clouds are in place where you see a little more black through the clouds. That's where the clouds are a little bit thinner, and I do think we'll thin the clouds at times a little bit throughout the course of the day for maybe a hint of sunshine here or there, but by far overall it's a mostly cloudy day for us. We expand out, you can see the bulk of the shower activity is off to our east. With the clouds, it's cool out there. There's a breeze as well. We're only in the 60s, but as we go throughout the afternoon hours, we should get the temperatures up into the low 70s, and as we get maybe a hint of sunshine in here, few locations could get to the upper 70s, but most of us remain on the cool side. We'll talk more about your weekend forecast, which brings brighter and warmer temperatures into the area in just a few minutes. Nicole.
The moment of silence and the names of those killed in the Twin Towers being read aloud. It's now been 19 years since the attacks of September 11th, 2001. Ceremonies were held in New York City, the Pentagon, and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where United Flight 93 went down. In Indianapolis, the mayor, the fire chief, and other leaders gathered for the traditional 9/11 memorial mass. Due to the pandemic, the mass was celebrated outdoors this year at the Firefighters Union Hall on Mass Ave. The mass honors the lives of the 343 firefighters who were killed while responding to the attacks in New York.
We're reminded that you live out that call every day. You show up in the middle of the night. You show up when someone's in crisis. You show up and help them.
The Firefighters Emerald Society also presented a donation to the 9/11 Run Foundation for its fundraiser to benefit the families of fallen firefighters. The end of the week brings a rise in COVID-19 cases in Indiana. Moments ago, the state health department reported 1,282 new cases of the virus. It's the first time in 6 days that new cases were back above the 1,000 mark. 10 additional deaths were also reported. The positive test rate is down slightly. The 7-day average fell to 5.1%. Black, Latinx, and Native American communities continue to be disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. Now faith leaders from those communities are joining together for a new initiative. The goal is to get accurate and updated information about the virus and clinical trials into minority communities.
To disseminate information that translates what can be, in many instances, the complexities of this virus in a way that allows it to be understood throughout the community, irrespective of levels of education.
We are not here to recruit. We are here to educate, to ensure that whatever decision, whether leaders make and their parishioners make, or and parishioners have their own networks. And so we are really looking at this each one teach one model.
Those we heard from say there is varying interest and trust among minorities right now when it comes to clinical trials. President Trump is campaigning again, continuing to push back on those recordings where he admitted to publicly downplaying the severity of the coronavirus. His opponent, Joe Biden, says it's one reason the U.S. leads the world in COVID-19 deaths. ABC's Inez De La Quintera has the latest now from Washington.
At a campaign rally in Michigan, where there was little social distancing evident, President Trump insisting he only downplayed the virus in the early days of the pandemic in order to keep the American people calm.
This whack job that wrote the book, he said, Well, Trump knew a little bit. They wanted me to come out and scream, people are dying, we're dying. No, we did it just the right way. We have to be calm. We don't want to be crazed lunatics.
This after new audio excerpts obtained by CNN appear to show the president admitting to veteran journalist Bob Woodward during 18 interviews for Woodward's new book, Rage, that he was keeping important details from the public on just how dangerous COVID-19 was in the early days of the virus.
It goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. You know, the touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air, and that's how it's passed. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus.
Trump allegedly making those comments on February 7, but here he is just days later.
That's a little bit like the flu. It's a little like the regular flu that we have flu shots for.
Democrats pouncing.
He knew the facts of it. 5% potential lethality. He narrated all that in that conversation. This is an individual who is not concerned about the health, safety, and well-being of the American people.
While the president's allies are mostly silent or standing by him. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell telling Fox News.
Well, I haven't read the Woodward book, but we all knew it was dangerous. The president knew it was dangerous, and I think took positive steps very early on for which he should be applauded, not criticized.
This comes as more than 6 million people have been infected with COVID-19 in the U.S., and the CDC now predicts more than 217,000 Americans could die from COVID-19 by October 3rd. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
More Democracy 2020 coverage now, and a new poll shows the race for governor here in Indiana is tighter than it was just months ago. Change Research and Indy Politics released a survey of more than 1,000 Hoosiers. The survey shows Republican Governor Eric Holcomb only holding Democratic challenger Woody Myers by 6 percentage points. Holcomb had a 20-point lead in a poll taken back in April. Libertarian candidate Donald Rainwater is also running well at 24%. Change Research says it appears Rainwater is picking up support from some Republicans who are upset with Governor Holcomb's mask mandate and other COVID-19 restrictions. Indiana does not appear to be competitive when it comes to the race for president. The new poll shows President Trump with a healthy lead over Democratic challenger Joe Biden among Hoosiers who were surveyed. Some concerns with potential reforms next. WRTV Investigates takes a look at why a state training board is questioning the changes made by IMPD to improve accountability. Todd.
And Nicole, we're dealing with lots of clouds here today across central Indiana. When you look at the big picture off to our west, you see showers and thunderstorms. Those eventually get here for parts of your weekend. Most of the weekend is dry and fairly bright. We'll talk all about it coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast when the news at noon continues right here on WRTV.
Only on WRTV, the state's top police training board is calling into question recent reforms put in place by Metro Police. WRTV Investigates Rafael Sanchez takes a look at the concerns and the deadline that IMPD now faces.
Following months of protests sparked by police shootings around the country, including 2 in the city in May, the city of Indianapolis stepped up its police department reforms. By November, all Metro Police officers will wear body-worn cameras, and all officers are now working under 2 new general orders. General Order 130, which calls for IMPD to de-escalate encounters and puts in writing what was already not allowed: no chokeholds. Order 132 spells out the use of tasers and chemical sprays. Both orders now under the microscope of the Law Enforcement Training Board. The group, representing law enforcement statewide, says it has the obligation to review training practices before they are taught. In a letter to the Metro Police Chief and the Mayor of Indianapolis, the board raises concerns, saying it was led to believe that training on the new orders would not begin until 2021, though it learned that about half of Metro's officers have already undergone training. The board is also raising questions about the overall use of force policy. The group is concerned that the orders violate federal case law by limiting officers and putting them in harm's way. While the Law Enforcement Training Board unanimously opposes the teaching of the chokehold technique to law enforcement, it supports any tactic that may include a chokehold or neck restraint in a deadly force encounter.
That was our Rafael Sanchez reporting. State Police Superintendent Doug Carter chairs the Law Enforcement Training Board. He tells WRTV Investigates that he will comment on the matter after receiving a response from Metro Police and the city. Today, IMPD Deputy Chief Kendall Adams is pushing back on any concerns.
I think our policy meets that basic constitutional and state law requirement. It's very clear to us that the policy is within both those realms. We feel very confident about that.
We do have the city's full response and more details at our website right now, WRTV.com. Trying to fight food insecurity one garden at a time. Next, how you can help a woman who is using a green thumb to help fill the void of food deserts. What kind of weekend will we see weather-wise? We'll get your forecast coming up next. This is a view looking live to the west. You're watching WRTV News at Noon. Welcome back. Access to fresh, healthy, and affordable food is a challenge for thousands across Indianapolis. One woman is trying to change that for future generations by teaching them to grow and cook their own crops, but she needs help. Our Cameron Riddle takes us into the garden.
Elizabeth Durden spends much of her time with a group of 12 young gardeners, exposing them to fresh food that they can grow and eventually cook themselves, while helping them grow an appreciation for healthy food.
The only thing left is gas stations, convenience stores. They don't have any fresh vegetables, and it's really hard to find them.
Some of Durden's young gardeners have room to grow crops at home, and those who don't split time working in the garden Durden built at the area known as the Mayor's Garden on the west side. For Durden, the issue is getting some of her gardeners there from the east side.
A lot of them don't have transportation. Their parents don't have transportation. There's not really a bus that comes out here, and my car doesn't have the capacity to bring everyone out at the same time, and that would be the ideal.
The good news is Capital City Church of Christ on East 38th Street and Post Road is stepping in to provide land for Durden's east side gardeners. But after putting thousands of dollars worth of work into the original garden on the west side, Durden needs some help.
I'm looking for assistance with the fencing. Each panel is like $17 a piece, and I'm going to need at least 18 of those to secure it to where I can walk inside of it, to water it, to weed it.
After 5 years of mentoring young gardeners, Durden knows it's a lot of work, but believes the effort will go a long way to exposing the next generation to a healthier life.
I want the kids in my community to actually be able to have fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, and then learn how to cook the vegetables.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
Cameron, thank you. If you are interested in helping Durden and her group of younger gardeners, we do have the information in this story right now on our website, WRTV.com. Wildfires in western states are turning into some of the most destructive on record. At least 17 people have died, but many more are still missing. The fires have been especially devastating in California and Oregon. More than 2.6 million acres have burned in California so far, while in Oregon, around 500,000 people have been forced to evacuate from their homes as 36 separate fires are burning across the state. Now to your forecast here at home. Todd, if people have plans outdoors today or the rest of the weekend, what can they expect?
You know, today, Nicole, you're definitely probably going to want to either have the long sleeves or a light jacket on. As we get into the weekend, though, warmer temperatures will work in, and it has everything to do with the sunshine. We'll see more sunshine both Saturday and Sunday than we will see here for the day today. Only 67 degrees outside right now, and to make it feel even cooler, even though your feel-like temperature doesn't say so, is that northeast wind at 12 miles per hour. That northeasterly wind is a cool and chilly wind direction, and you can just see the city skyline line off in the distance there as we're finally starting to see the clouds thin out just a little bit. And where they're a little thinner, temperatures have cracked the 70-degree mark in Terre Haute as well as Bedford, close to 70 in Bloomington. A little cooler to the north, still 64 in Tipton, and 65 is the current temperature in Peru. We'll get up to about 75 degrees here later on this afternoon, but again, it's going to feel a little cooler than that when you factor in that breeze that's out there and also the lack of sunshine that we currently have across central Indiana. And you can see the skies tried to clear and then the clouds just filled right back in. But as we progress throughout the afternoon hours and that drier air starts to work in, it's not out of the question that the clouds will thin for some filtered sunshine. You're never going to break out into that bright blue sky. So don't think of that going forward throughout the day. But the good news is, while there was a little patchy drizzle early this morning, we should remain dry throughout the remainder of the day. But eventually, this cold front that is off to our west here, this is going to come through during the day tomorrow. A center of low pressure, that is going to pass to our north, so we don't have to worry about that. But the timing of the front works out in our advantage in the sense that it doesn't arrive until the evening and more so overnight hours. So this evening, have that jacket handy. Sunset now before 8 o'clock, and by 9 p.m., once the sun is down to 73 degrees. And as you wake up tomorrow morning, we're in the 50s and 60s. So it's a cool start to your Saturday. We clear the skies out. There could be a little bit of patchy fog again tomorrow morning. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But going into tomorrow, we'll have some sunshine throughout the course of the day. And then eventually the clouds will start to win out again later on in the afternoon hours. But it's going to be a decent day, and the temperatures are warmer. We're into the mid-80s, and as far as that rain goes, here we are at 12:30 in the afternoon. The rain's off to our west. Could be a spot shower coming in here by about 4 or 5 o'clock, but the bulk of the shower activity is going to be mainly throughout the overnight hours. And then once that front goes through, Sunday, while there could be a lingering shower and definitely some cloud cover early in the morning, the day gets a lot better as the day goes on. We see the humidity drop, the sunshine appear, and a high temperature of 81 degrees. Then Monday, Tuesday, and even Wednesday are terrific days for us. Those storms on Wednesday don't come in till late in the day. We'll have overnight lows in the 50s and high temperatures up right around 80 degrees. So let's just get through this afternoon here, Nicole, with somewhat dreary conditions and cooler temperatures, and then we'll look forward to the warmer air and the sunshine over the weekend.
All right, Todd, sounds good. Thank you so much. Well, the NFL season is officially underway. The Colts kick off their season this Sunday, but today the team kicked off a big party downtown on Monument Circle. The Colts held a drive-through swag bag giveaway with fans getting American flags and Colts flags. The season opener in Jacksonville kicks off at 1 o'clock this Sunday. More news and one more check of your forecast is next. You're watching the WRTV News at Noon. This exceptionally rare diamond may soon become one of the world's most expensive. The 102-carat oval diamond will go up for auctions at Sotheby's in Hong Kong. It was cut from a rough diamond discovered in Ontario, Canada in 2018 and has achieved top rankings in each of the 4 C's: cut, color, clarity, and carat weight. The flawless diamond has the highest grading for a white diamond, classified as D color. Diamonds of similar sizes and quality have previously attracted bids of up to $30 million. Bidding begins soon and will conclude with a live auction on October 5th. That is beautiful. Well, if you get that big diamond for your sweetheart, you could follow that up with a Wienermobile wedding. Oscar Mayer's legendary car hasn't been making public appearances during the pandemic, but the 27-foot-long hot dog on wheels is making an appearance with smitten couples committing to tie the knot. And the best part? If you want the Wienermobile to be part of your marriage proposal like love itself, it is completely free. All you have to do is sign up, and if the Wienermobile isn't otherwise engaged, it will roll on down to your magic moment at no cost. What do you think, Todd? Should I invite them out to my wedding?
Well, I was just going to say, you have a wedding coming up in about 29, 30 days.
Right.
So, you know, why don't you just have the Wienermobile come, and, you know.
I'm good.
Now take some extra pictures. I think you're good. All right. Clouds this afternoon, but sunshine and warmer temperatures over the weekend.
All right, Todd, thank you. And thank you for joining us. Have a great day.